Developing right now, an investigation is underway after the death of a detainee at the City Justice Center in downtown St. Louis. St. Louis police say 31-year-old Samuel Hayes Jr. was involved in a fight in his cell just before 8:30 last night. Police say corrections staff put Hayes in a restraint chair after he failed to comply with verbal commands. He was then found unresponsive around 10 p.m. and later pronounced dead. Hayes was scheduled to go on trial next month for a deadly shooting last year in the Vandeventer neighborhood. He was charged with murder and armed criminal action after a man was found shot to death inside a car on North Sarah Street in April 2024. The head of the CJC says the Corrections Division is cooperating fully with the death investigation. In a statement released today, Doug Burris says the Division of Corrections recognizes that any death in custody is a profoundly serious matter and extends its deepest condolences to the family and loved ones of the deceased. He goes on to say the safety and well-being of individuals in our care is a fundamental responsibility, and incidents of this nature are treated with the highest level of scrutiny. Now, a spokesperson for Mayor Kara Spencer is also aware of the death at the CJC and says they will ensure a thorough review of what happened. The medical examiner will determine the exact cause of death as the investigation moves forward.